The 2020s has already produced some incredible talent. So today, me and Cam are drafting our top 15 players that were drafted in the 2020s decade and predicting who will be the best players, who will have the greatest careers, and who will dominate the next 15 years of NBA basketball. With the first overall pick, I'm going Victor Wembanyama.
With my first overall pick, I'm also going Victor Wembanyama.
Let's not even spend too much time on it. He is going to be one of the greatest players of all time. He has already shown that he can be the best player in the league right now, and no one else in this list even comes close.
And even if you want to look at it from a purely prospect-based standpoint, this guy is far and away the best prospect we've seen since LeBron James.
At number 2, I'm selecting Anthony Edwards.
At number 2, I am selecting Cooper Flagg.
Really?
I am, yeah. So my reasoning for this, I think Anthony Edwards has been great. I think Anthony Edwards has shown himself to be a consistent borderline top 10 guy in the league over the last at least 2 seasons. I think Anthony Edwards is one of my favorite players to watch. But Cooper Flagg this season showed that he's one of them. 40 points, youngest player to score 40 points ever. He had multiple 40-point games coming down the stretch of the season as a 19-year-old. He's not even going to be 20 at the start of next season. And I think he's only going to get better. His defense is already elite at an NBA level. His scoring is only going to get better. He really benefited this season from being put in the position of being a primary ball handler, I think, even though that's not the role he's going to inhabit in the future. I think Cooper Flagg is an exceptional talent. He's not a Victor Wembanyama, but I think he definitely has top 5 player in the NBA upside.
But Anthony Edwards is pretty much already there in terms of that upside, and he's already had the playoff success. He's made the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. It could even be 3. I don't know when this will be released, but as of right now, they're down 2-1. Anthony Edwards is that guy. Anthony Edwards just averaged like 28, 29 points per game on elite efficiency. He led the NBA in 3-pointers made last season. I think he's already like the face of the franchise. He's already got the personality, and I love Cooper Flagg's personality already. Don't get me wrong. He's a very relatable guy in his early 20s, even though he's not even 20 yet. But I kind of feel that way as a guy in his early 20s. How could you, because we're talking about the careers of these guys. We're not just talking about just from here on out. But why is Ant so low?
And so this is, you say so low. This is not meant to be disrespectful to Anthony Edwards at all. This is not meant to be me saying that Anthony Edwards is less than what we think he is. I think he is exactly as good as we think he is. I just think Cooper Flagg is going to be that good. I think he's going to be one of those guys that is like, fighting for that top 20 spot all time by the end of his career.
But Ant's already kind of there. Like you already get the guarantee and you get the rest of their careers. Ant is a very young 25 years old, or he's actually 24 right now. So there's no pressure, at least right now, for him to be a finals MVP, which he inevitably will be in the future. That's why I have him second, because he will be a champion. He does have that dog mentality. I get it with Cooper Flagg, but we don't know how much his game will truly develop.
I would agree with that with Anthony Edwards, but for one reason, and that is that this is a guy who has been on record, not just in his rookie season, but since then, saying that if he wins a championship, he's not going to be very motivated to play basketball anymore.
No one believes that.
But I don't know why he would feel compelled to say that.
Because he just
You think he's just a troll? You think he's just a troll?
I was about to say that word, and it sounds pretty stupid to say about Ant, but I think he is. He's going to stick with basketball the rest of his career, especially the later he gets on with basketball. He's gonna be he's gonna want to be one of the greats.
So
because you have to put up the actual numbers, you have to have the longevity to be one of the greats, and I think he wants to be that. He wants to be the stamped greatest Timberwolf of all time, even though he actually might have more potential if he leaves. I get that Cooper Flagg has the potential, but will he be the second, third, fourth best player in the NBA? Because if you don't think he'll be that and he'll just be this bordering top 5, Jason Tatum-ish player, then you've got to go Anthony Edwards.
I think Cooper Flagg will win an MVP in his career, and Anthony Edwards will not.
Why do you think that is? Is it narratives, or you think he just?
I think Cooper Flagg statistically will do more than Anthony Edwards during the season, first of all. Like, he can stack the box score in ways that Anthony Edwards just won't in terms of assists and rebounds, and also the stocks that he's going to get as a defender.
The only way he'd do that is if he outweights Victor Wembanyama and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, which I guess he can do because he's 19 and Ant's 25. So I guess you can say that's bad timing because Ant and Shai are so similar in age.
I think Shai will. I mean, Shai's 27, going to be 28 over the summer. So when Cooper Flagg is 25 at the start of a regular season, when he's as old as Anthony Edwards is this year, Shai will be 34. So yeah. Cooper Flagg will be hitting his prime as these guys are starting to age out. So I think definitely he's going to win. He's just going to be really competing with Wemby for that MVP. And maybe you could say a guy like Ant, who's going to be 31 at that point in time.
I just think he's already done it, but I want to see how low he is on your list. So I'll go ahead and give my number 3, which is Cade Cunningham.
My number 3 is Anthony Edwards.
So you have Cade Cunningham 2 entire or more spots under Cooper Flagg.
That's right.
Interesting, because I thought you were the Cade Cunningham guy. You're the guy who said the Pistons will
I'm very high.
make the finals
I'm
this
very
year.
high on a lot of the guys that have come out in the 2020s. I'm very high on a lot. I think a lot of these guys are going to be known as historic name kind of players, and we've already seen it through this 2020s decade. A different team has won the finals every single year. There's no reason to believe that all of these guys can't eat. So I feel like I'm personally splitting hairs when I'm making these divisions. And obviously I'm saying one guy's going to be better than the other. So that's still me making a claim. But when it comes right down to it, I think the top 5 guys on my list, Victor obviously being at the top, and then the guy at 5th being at the bottom, are all going to be all-time names by the end of their career for a variety of reasons.
What's all-time names?
I think they're going to be up there with at least guys like, let's say a Clyde Drexler.
Oh, that's how low the bar is? I think Anthony Edwards will be better than a Clyde Drexler. I think he'll be on par with a Dwayne Wade.
I'm not saying no. I agree. I'm not saying Victor Wembanyama is going to be Clyde Drexler. I'm saying the 5th guy on my list, I could see being a Clyde Drexler.
Okay, the 5th, I could see it. I just think that when all their careers are done, because I will just go, I'll just go ahead and say it. I'm assuming that you have Cade Cunningham at 4.
I do not.
Okay, then we'll get to that in a second. Cade Cunningham has been amazing. 25 points per game this season, 10 assists. Would have led the NBA in assists per game if it weren't for his injury, where he missed a couple games and played like 10 minutes of the last 3 games. Is on route to make the Eastern Conference Finals as of this recording, could be making the finals. He led his team to the 1 seed. He's been elevating. I mean, we made a short talk about how he's been averaging 33 points per game in the playoffs, which is an insane playoff riser that we don't see from many guys, other than Donovan Mitchell, who he is outplaying so far. He will be, one of the greats. He is still so young, and I feel like this season might not end very well for him with the whole collapse that he had. Or not collapse, is it lung?
Collapse lung.
Yeah, he had the collapse lung. I feel like because of that, the season won't end too well. But just in terms of his career, I mean, the Pistons are doing an amazing job building around him, so you definitely know that you'll get a championship out of that. And I've already seen it. That's the thing with Cooper Flagg. You are projecting so much, and you have to really believe that one, hopefully, and this is for all the players, but when you are this young and haven't done anything, you got to hope injuries just don't play a part of it. And then 2, you have to peak higher than a guy who just pretty much led the league in assists, was a good defender, 25 points per game. I mean, he's not nearly the defender Cooper Flagg is, but I just think Cade Cunningham's already shown the leadership even.
And I said I believe Cooper Flagg will win an MVP. That's peaking higher than Cade has.
Do you think Cooper Flagg will be like a vocal leader? Like, do you think he can be something like that? The way that Anthony Edwards is, the way that Cade Cunningham is.
I think he can be.
I think he is super young, and it's not going to come anytime soon.
He's
but you're also betting on that. You're betting on a lot of different things with Cooper Flagg.
I'm betting on a guy who is going to come in and have 4 more years of NBA experience before he even hits 22 years old, the age that Wemby's at right now, to gain that voice, right? And you can imagine, given the turmoil of the situation he walked into in Dallas, that he just wanted to keep his head down, be PR trained, just come in and kind of steady the ship. That was really what he was supposed to do, because there's no way he was going to take over Luka Doncic's role as team leader. And Kyrie was already expected to kind of be the team leader, as some people said he was, even when Luka was there. You got Anthony Davis there, who's a better player than you, who was supposed to be healthy this season. Cooper Flagg was not in a position to necessarily take that over. Now, you could see next year he should take the reins, but he's 19 years old. I think by the time he is starting to hit his prime years, 21, 22, he will be that sort of vocal guy. We even saw it after he got drafted. He was asked immediately about the Luka Doncic trade and what it's like to be filling those shoes. Gave a very good PR-trained answer. That's all he was supposed to be this season. So I think when you talk about being that more explosive vocal leader, he can definitely do that as his career goes on.
Okay, it'll be interesting to see how these players all rank, because there's a bunch of guys in the top 5 right now where I think it's kind of undisputed, and they're getting older. Giannis is getting older. Nikola Jokic is getting older. I mean, even a guy like Kevin Durant is still in top 10 talks. When all these guys go down, someone's going to have to be, the second best player in the world, the third best, the fourth best. And there's guys like obviously Shea and Luka, but then it's going to be one of these guys. So we'll see if Cooper Flagg can really take one of those number 2 or 3 spots. I can't believe you don't even have Cade Cunningham next.
So I do want to comment on Cade real quick before I get to my guy, because I really like Cade Cunningham. Like I'm saying, I'm very high on all these guys in the top 5. I think they will all be Hall of Famers. I think they will all, it's the Basketball Hall of Fame, so you'd assume there'd be more than even 5 guys on this list that are going to end up being Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
But in terms of what I'm looking at, I think these top fives are going to be all-time names. Like I said, I think they're going to be a Clyde Drexler level or above. I think Cade is certainly going to be one of those guys, and he's 5th on my list, right? I'm still very high on Cade. I think Cade is going to be a great player. I think he's going to be one of the guys that kind of defines this generation of basketball players, right? Along with an Anthony Edwards. And Cade's obviously done in the regular season. Cade's been great. Cade in his role has been very good. Not perfect. Turns the ball over a lot, can be an inefficient shooter at times, right? He's asked to do a lot along with playmaking, but he's not perfect in his role. And I'm going to give my number 4 spot to a guy that has been perfect in his role, essentially. A guy that was the first player to ever put up 30, 15, and 10 with 0 turnovers in a playoff game on 3 misses, by the way, in a clutch game in the conference finals. A guy who hit clutch shot after clutch shot after clutch shot last year in the playoffs to get his team to the finals, and a team that would have won the finals had he not torn his Achilles in Game 7. I'm giving it to Tyrese Haliburton because Tyrese Haliburton has shown us time and time again his ability to step up in big moments, to be the perfect archetype of the player that he is expected to be, and to do everything that you could ask out of a floor general point guard.
One of us is going to look pretty insane because I don't really have him for the next couple spots for sure. I'd have to look at my list. So your number 4 is Tyrese Haliburton.
Yes.
Over Cade Cunningham.
Yes.
Who would you say is better right now? Like what is this going off of projection? Is this going off of, I guess, what Haliburton has done in the playoffs so far?
I think Haliburton's been better through his career than Cade has.
I think Cade Cunningham's better right now. If you compare last year Tyrese Haliburton to this year Cade Cunningham,
I think Tyrese is better.
I just think
I feel like he
crazy.
gets really undervalued because he doesn't score as much. But let's talk about the scoring difference. It's a 5-point per game difference, right? And Tyrese is more efficient. He turns the ball over less. And he's also a team leader, too. When we talk about Cade and them, we talk about Cade being a team leader. He absolutely is. Tyrese is also a team leader. Tyrese is that guy that's super vocal, and that doesn't come out as much because he does have a bit of a softer, you could say, personality, or, is a little bit more of a nice guy off the court. But I don't know. That he's got that dog in him.
Tyrese Haliburton is really good at using the system he has offensively, but he's not like, I understand we just saw this amazing finals run that happened. I'm going to go out on a limb. That's not happening again. Like that was his one chance to do it. And I still think Tyrese Haliburton is a really good player. I still have him, obviously top 10 on this list. I'd have to look at where it is. I just don't think when it comes to who is the superstar, who's the better player, who would I rather have taken the shot, who's going to be more consistent, who's the better defender, like a lot of different things on the basketball court. I'm going Cade Cunningham, and you're saying it's only a 5-point per game difference. But when we have these conversations, 5 points every single game is a lot of points. The offensive stress that Cade Cunningham has is so ridiculous. Like, I understand that Haliburton does a lot for his offense, but Cade Cunningham is asked to score the ball at such a ridiculous rate because his second next best option is either Duncan Robinson or Tobias Harris. And I'll give credit. Tobias Harris has been amazing in these playoffs. I think he has like 6 or 7 straight 20-point games. Duncan Robinson can hit some ridiculous shots sometimes. He can also go cold. The offensive stress that Cade has is not even close. And Cade has that dog in him. He is the playoff elevator. We're talking about 33 points per game. And we're talking about, he's only made the playoffs 2 times so far. Last season, he made the playoffs. He didn't play great. He was inefficient. He was turning the ball over, but he was still doing everything. He still averaged like 26, 27 points per game, which is something that I don't think Tyrese Haliburton could do in back-to-back series. Specifically going forward, Cade Cunningham's the younger player. I think he has that dog in him. I think he's a better player. If Tyrese Haliburton were healthy, and he played this season, he played like he did last season, but it was just this season, where would you have him ranked as a player? Like, what do you see in him?
If he did what he did last season, he's a superstar.
What's a superstar? Top 5, top 10?
Top 8.
Top 8?
Yeah.
I guess you have better than Cade Cunningham.
If he takes his team to the finals again,
he just have to do it. Like, I get valuing the playoffs like that, but also he wasn't that good through 82 games. And this is also a guy who, unfortunately,
he was still a guy who averaged, 18 and 9 a game?
Yeah, that's good numbers. That's not great numbers. That's not Cade Cunningham numbers at all.
No, but he also did it on way better efficiency with less turnovers.
Because he has Nemhard, he has Naismith, he has these shooters that can also defend. He has TJ McConnell off the bench. He has Miles Turner, or he had Miles Turner to play next to, who played good until he went to the Bucks. He has a Pascal Siakam. Cade Cunningham does not have a Pascal Siakam.
Okay. I want to backtrack.
He has Jalen Durham.
I want to backtrack real quick. I want to backtrack to something you said when we were talking about the MVP race. And I mentioned that I had Cade Cunningham as my winner of the MVP. This was before he went down with the collapse, along with the Detroit Pistons had I think it was best record or closely contested second best record in the NBA, right? You said the Detroit Pistons are good, not because of their offense, but because of their defense. Cade is super valuable, but the Detroit Pistons benefit way more from their defense than they do from their offense, and Cade Cunningham is not a guy who you can rely on as a defender. You at times during this playoffs have called Cade Cunningham a cone, right? So let's put that into perspective really quick. Cade Cunningham is great on offense. Cade Cunningham does take on a lot on offense, but Tyrese Haliburton also takes on the role of a floor general for the offense of the Pacers, which was their key component to them making a run to the finals. If their offense wasn't good, they don't win. When the Pistons offense isn't good, we've still seen them win because their defense is that good. And according to what you have said yourself in the past, Cade Cunningham is not one of the key contributors to their defensive success. Those are guys like Asar Thompson and guys like, maybe a Jalen Duren in the paint or a Beef Stew or someone like that, right? So using that logic, you want to talk about stress. Tyrese Haliburton's team was more reliant on his end of the floor that he contributes on than the Detroit Pistons are to the end of the floor that Cade contributes on. Now, is Cade this super talented player? Yes. Does Cade take on more of an offensive load than Tyrese does? Yes. But we want to talk about stress. Tyrese Haliburton hit 5 game winners in last year's playoffs. Or it was at least 4 plus a shot to send that same Bucks game in which he hit a game winner to overtime, right? Tyrese Haliburton, against one of the best defenses we've ever seen at pressuring guards especially, did not have a turnover-prone series, did not have a bad, inefficient series, right? We talked about this before. How do you beat the Oklahoma City Thunder? What do you need? You need guards that are confident, competent, can handle the ball, and can read a defense, and Tyrese Haliburton did all those things in spades better than anyone in that year's playoffs, better than Ant, better than Jokic, better than anyone, and he took the Thunder 2-7 in their most competitive series, and yes, I believe the Indiana Pacers would have won that game. Was he healthy? And I want to ask you, what if the Pacers do win that game? What if Haliburton stays healthy? What do you think of him then?
I still don't know if they win that game. I'm sorry. Like it was what was the score of that game when he got hurt? And it was like early in the first quarter.
Yeah, but he was going off.
He was going off. He had 9 points.
And there was no reason for me to believe, given what we had seen from him in the playoffs up to that point, that would not continue, because when he had gotten hot in the playoffs, he stayed hot.
But I just don't like this narrative that it was no one's saying specifically it was some guaranteed win, but they're saying the Pacers should have won.
I'm saying I believe they would have. And I'm asking the question to you. You asked to me, what if Tyrese did what he did this year? How high would I be on him? If they just simply won that game last year. With him. If he stays healthy, they win that game. What do you think of him? They just beat a 68-win Thunder team, one of the best defenses of all time, a team that finished first in the league again this year, a team that looks primed to become a dynasty.
If Tyrese Haliburton, because I think he had either 7 or 9 points already. He had 9. If he ends that game with 30 points, 10 assists, you win Game 7 of the finals against one of the greatest teams that I've personally ever seen. Obviously, I'm not talking about the Warriors or anything. Then he's ranked really high. I know for sure that he has that dog in him and that he can do it consistently. But I'm not playing in these. I know I said like, oh, what if Haliburton played this year? But that's just on a projection going forward. That thing never happened. Tyrese Haliburton did get hurt. So if we're just going off that, and by the way, Tyrese Haliburton is a player who has been hurt his whole career, actually. Like he has consistently missed like 20, 30 games. And I know that because I follow Pacers fans and they always talk about how the second Haliburton gets hurt, the Pacers start losing games, which is a great testament to how good Tyrese Haliburton is. But we don't know how healthy he'll be in the future. We don't even know how he'll recover from this Achilles injury. I know other players have recovered pretty well, like a Kevin Durant, but we just don't know. And I'd rather take the known of Cade Cunningham. And I do think that Cade Cunningham is a solid defender. I think he is. Unfortunately, this season is weird because he had a collapsed lung. I'm giving him slack this season. Now, if he goes out next season in the playoffs and is just stupid defensively and makes all these mistakes that I'm watching this season, then sure, I can slander him all I want. But Cade has done everything you could ask of him to so far. And I just think that when we talk about the potential of these players, because by the way, Cade Cunningham is probably a year, if not 2 years younger than Tyrese Haliburton. I just think Cade will be the better player. I think Cade is a guy who will be top 5 in the NBA, and I don't believe that about Haliburton. I think he's really good at his role, and I actually think in the playoffs, defensively, Haliburton was a cone in the regular season, but in the playoffs, he stepped up. He was so active off ball. He was actually making plays defensively. I just don't think Haliburton can do that on a consistent basis, and I do believe Cade Cunningham can. So while I think the Pistons defense does win them games, I don't think Cade Cunningham's defense loses them games. I definitely think Cade's the better defender than Haliburton. And I'll go ahead and give credit. If the Pistons play the Thunder this season, they lose in 5 versus the Pacers who forced it to 7. But the difference is the Pacers have shooters for Haliburton to pass to. Haliburton doesn't have to make these high stress passes like Cade Cunningham does when he's constantly trapped and it's Asar and it's Duren, it's everyone crashing. And they have to fight and fight and fight for a Tobias Harris wide open 3. Versus on the Pacers, everyone is devil magic. Everyone can shoot threes.
Aaron Nesmith was going crazy in that playoff. So
He
I will
was.
give you credit for
I
that.
feel like Miles Turner was going crazy up until the finals. He was terrible in the finals, though.
I just think Tyrese Haliburton deserves credit for what he has done in his career and the success he has shown. He has been to 2 conference finals. Cade has been to 0. So Cade, in the 2 years that he has behind Haliburton, as you're saying, Haliburton's 2 years older, and Haliburton's missed an entire season, Cade needs to go to 2 conference finals to match Haliburton's production in the playoffs. The Pistons were a 60-win team this year. We can say what we want about, the composition of their roster, but at the end of the day, these are the excuses that a young team gets. If this was an established Pistons team winning 60 games, we wouldn't give them these excuses. So these are the excuses that you get when it's perceived that you're still building a team, but even without Cade, they were still good this year. They still won games. They went 8-3.
They were still good, but Cade is younger than Haliburton, and he's young in general. And I just think when we go back and look at this 10 years from now, we're going to see Cade Cunningham's career in a way different light than Haliburton. Personally, I think there's some circumstances where injuries are a huge part in the NBA playoffs. And that was one season where, besides that game 7, obviously, the Pacers were entirely healthy. That was their chance, even if they were young. And that might even be the case with this Pistons team. So we'll just see how Cade Cunningham's playoff performances go in the future. But we can move on.
No, that was good. At 5, I have Cade. I know you're not going to have Haliburton at 5, but we've already said a lot about Cade, so I'm going to kind of just leave it at that. I like Cade. I think he's going to be great. He's playing great in the playoffs. It's been fun to watch.
At number 5, I have a champion. I have Chet Holmgren.
Yeah, I figured.
This dude, he's already done it. He's already been a very good contributor on a championship team. He's the perfect number 2. And personally, I do believe that from my list now going forward, there's no superstars. There's no superstars. There's no one who can carry a team. So now we're talking about either 1Bs or 2As or whatever you want to talk about. Best second options, whatever. Chet Holmgren, amazing offensively this season, last season, and this season. Amazing defensively. He anchors this OKC defense. When he's on the floor, the defense is so much better. He's Wemby light. If I have Wemby at 5, I have Chet at if I have Wemby at 1, I have Chet at 5.
He's the perfect Rudy Gobert.
He is, except he's Rudy Gobert, but who can catch the ball, who can shoot, who can make a pass.
I think Chet is great. This season's really changed a lot of my opinions on Chet. I would have had him below J-Dub before this season. I definitely have him above J-Dub. I still think he's the 3rd offensive option when the Thunder are fully healthy. And obviously what he does on defense is great. I just look at the 2 guys I have above him that take on way more responsibility offensively. One of the guys who's a great defender, not a rim protector, but also a highly elite defender in his own right. And another guy who's been a 30-point per game scorer for the last couple seasons. And I know what Chet has the potential to do. And maybe if he was in a role where he could do that and be the number 1 option, he would show that. But so far throughout his career, he's been a number 2 at best and number 3 most of the time when Thunder are fully healthy. And that has seemed to be his best role. I don't have him much farther down the list. Like I said, I have 2 guys ahead of him. So, spoilers, I have Chet at 8. The guy I have at 6 is Scotty Barnes. And that's because I think Scotty Barnes just has more upside than Chet when it comes right down to it. I think what he's already shown this season with an improved mid-range shot, an improved 3, if he can improve his handle a little bit more, become a guy that's more comfortable taking the ball from the 3-point line to the basket, off the dribble, he can be a really great player because he's already got the defense, he's already got the length, he's got the physical tools, he's got the athleticism. He has such an unorthodox game, too, that it actually benefits him. And I think you said, I've never seen a guy who jumps so little on his jump shots, like his mid-range, and can just get it over anybody still. I mean, he was pulling shots over Mobley, Allen. It didn't matter who in that Cleveland series. And yeah, I personally also just believe a little bit more in the upside of a Scotty Barnes versus Chet.
Okay, I can understand that. I'm not going to get as riled up. At number 6, I do have Tyrese Haliburton. So I think it actually was only 2 spots lower. But I still do think there is a gap, personally, between my top 4 and then number 5. So I'll just go ahead and say that. But yeah, Haliburton, still amazing. I mean, everything you said was true up to a point. I don't know. I don't think he's a top 8 player in the NBA right now. I don't think he would be if he was healthy.
If he repeats everything he did last year, I mean, you saw what he did last year.
He was amazing, but he is a testament to how good his team is. I don't think he was carrying that team by any means, except in the final minute of the game, in the final 30 seconds of the game. Which we could talk about how clutch he was. He's an amazing clutch player, but through 47 minutes, I don't think his specific impact was just carrying this team in a superstar fashion. Like, I think Siakam was doing amazing. TJ McConnell had his devil magic. Mathurin knew how to draw some fouls. Like, the whole team, the Pacers team in general was just really, really good, in my opinion.
What's your opinion on Steve Nash?
He was a really good player. You know, I have a guy like Isaiah Thomas, Oscar Robertson, all those players better than Nash, because Nash did just have a system and he was really good in it. That'd be an interesting thing to talk about in the future, though, our all-time point guard list, because I don't know where I have Nash ranked, but he was, you know, obviously one of the best offensive engines we've ever seen.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I want to ask. At 6, Haliburton, I think at least you have him top 6. It's only 2 spots lower than me. And you said there's a gap. So we've talked about it at length. I'm going to go number 7 now. My number 7 guy is Tyrese Maxey. Last guy I have above Chet. I just think Maxey's been so good offensively the last 2-3 seasons. He's had to take on so much with the Sixers being hurt. He's kind of been not of his own choice put into the role of being the Sixers superstar, or that expectation kind of being there with Joel Embiid being hurt so much. That was a really bad voice crack. I apologize. He's demonstrated a lot of resilience. He's played almost 40 minutes a night at periods during the season, and he has been the sole reason that the Sixers have been able to keep their heads above water enough to even be in the second round of the playoffs. And yeah, I mean, Chet and him, it's two drastically different arguments. It's a guy whose ultimate value is being one of the best defenders in the NBA, and a guy whose ultimate value is being one of the best scoring guards in the NBA. So it's really
Which
different.
would you rather? So that's what you'd rather have? You'd rather have this.
I just think Maxey is a 30-point per game scorer, and also he's not this great defender by any means, but he can hold his own. I just think he's more valuable to a team in a vacuum than Chet Holmgren is. If you each put them individually on a team. And if I was a GM, I'd rather build my team around Tyrese Maxey than Chet Holmgren.
But what if you had another superstar? What if they had to be the number 2? Because I'm
then
gonna be honest,
then I'd rather have Chet. You know, if I had a guaranteed another superstar, another guy, if I had Tyrese Maxey already, I would take Chet over Tyrese Maxey, right? If I had Anthony Edwards already, I'd take Chet over Tyrese Maxey.
I just personally, now that I look at these guys, I'm not part of it. If they are going to be a number 1 option, I'll judge you on being a number 1. But none of these guys about a name can be a number 1 on a championship team. And also, Tyrese Maxey is a 30-point per game scorer, and I'll give him credit. I don't have him too much lower, but they were the 7 seed. And in any situation where the Sixers were a top 3 seed, which I believe was only 21, if I'm not mistaken, Maxey wasn't putting up 30 points per game, 25. I don't even think it was 20. It might have been like 18. I don't know if Maxey can do this on that much of a winning team. I mean, the Sixers were a disaster this season. I'm still giving him credit for getting the 30, but that is with Paul George getting suspended. That is with all the Joel Embiid injuries.
He was averaging 30 when Paul George was healthy. Now, the Joel Embiid injuries I'll give you, but he was averaging, you know, more.
And how large is that sample size? Because Embiid wasn't healthy very long. 30 games?
I mean, I don't know about Embiid, but with Paul George specifically, I do know that he was averaging.
But were
30.
they? I actually want to look it up right now, real quick. Were they winning? You know what? I'll eat my words. I know you're waiting for it, but yeah, they were 22-13 this season with Embiid, and he was averaging 28.5 points per game with Embiid. So Maxey is a really good player. Again, I'm not trying to disrespect him. I have him next on my list. So I have Maxey at 8, and then I have Scotty Barnes at 7. So we already talked about him enough. Scotty Barnes is a really good player. Will definitely be an All NBA player for like 5 years in a row. Like he will be amazing.
I'd say top 20 for sure. 15. It's still a tough list to crack, but be another interesting conversation. Who's top 15 in the NBA right now? But yeah, Tyrese Maxey. I think if you put Chet in the position that Tyrese Maxey is in, obviously they're asked to do different things. You could say one of them's a floor raiser, one of them's a ceiling raiser. But if you put Chet in the position that Tyrese Maxey is in, the Sixers wouldn't have nearly the level of success they've had.
I mean, yeah. If you put Maxey in Chet's position too, but not nearly the same success. So it's kind of a weird thing to compare. No, it's not. You could say that. That's the truth. Yes.
What is nearly? Obviously, Chet's this great rim protector, but you add another dynamic scorer next to Shea with the defense that they already have perimeter-wise, you don't think that that's still a really good team?
I don't think they need another dynamic scorer, especially in the regular season. Maybe I guess in the playoffs, but their rim protector is now either Isaiah Hartenstein, who gets into foul trouble a bunch, and maybe it's because he has Chet next to him, so there's no pressure, or Jalen Williams, who is not like he's a very good, what they say, below the rim defender, as the commentators say. No, they'd win like 15 less games, which is a pretty big jump.
You think they win 15 less? They think they were a 49-win team this season?
Because they wouldn't have J-Dub at all. And then instead of Chet, they'd have Maxey. Yeah. What makes them so good is Chet's rim protection.
Shea is what makes them so good.
Right. So Maxey wouldn't be adding anything really.
I guess I can see that.
So you're taking away all the rim protection, all of it, not the defense, but just the rim protection, and then you're adding in a score which they don't really need because I mean when Shea brings the ball up, they put 2 on the ball, and maybe you're getting Maxey some open looks, and that would be worthwhile. But they have a bunch of guys who can hit open shots.
Yeah, and I think Maxey would put so much pressure on the rim along with Shea that those guys would get like so many open shots. All right, so number 8 you have Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
Who do you have at 9?
At number 9, I have J-Dub, Jalen Williams himself.
At number 9, I have Dylan Harper.
You are projecting these rookies to do so much. And I'm not even saying it's unfair, but I do think it is fair to these older players who have already done it to give them their credit. I mean, this is...
Let me say, J-Dub's next. So he's just one spot below where you have him. I don't have him too far below. I still think he's really good.
Even with that being said, J-Dub is arguably a top 5 perimeter defender in the NBA.
No.
On top of averaging 22, 23 points per game.
I don't think he's a top... He might be the 3rd best perimeter defender on his team.
I'd give one guy. Who's your top 5 then? Just name 5.
I'll just name 5 that I think are better than him. I mean, I don't know my top 5 for sure off the top of my head, but Asar, Amen, Kaysen, Caruso.
No. We're not doing this. Amen Thompson is not a better defender than J-Dub.
You don't think Amen Thompson is a better defender than J-Dub?
He's not even near Asar.
How is he not better than
Asar is a whole level above him. Yes. Amen is not doing that much defensively.
You're pushing. Number one. You of all people are pushing a J-Dub agenda right now. Number 2, how is Amen not a good defender?
Why would I not push a J-Dub agenda? Just because I think he's corny? Just because I made a video on that? You could be corny and still a great NBA player. I mean, there's
a really
reason,
good NBA. He's not a top 5 perimeter defender in the NBA.
You know how much credit I give to the OKC Thunder, where one season Chet misses 50 games and they're the 1 seed, and then the next season J-Dub misses 50 games and they're the 1 seed because both of those players are so good. J-Dub is an amazing player. I'm going to give credit, even if I think he's a little corny. He knows how to score. He defends at the highest level. He makes open reads, and he's only going to get better. And you could say that about a Dylan Harper, but Dylan Harper hasn't done nearly anything. He gets to play with Victor Wembanyama. Of course, you're going to look amazing.
Current day Drew Holiday is a better perimeter defender than Jalen Williams.
I don't know what you're seeing. I don't know what you're watching. Just because. If J-Dub was on any other team, he would stand out so much as a defender. It's crazy. But because he plays with all these other defenders, you just think of, oh, it's one of them. Oh, it's just one of those good defenders over there. All of these guys on OKC, yeah, you know what? He could be the 3rd best defender on OKC and still be top 5 in the league.
That is
you.
True,
You could give 3 Dyson, Asar, and then 3 OKC players, and that would be a damn good all defensive first team.
Okay. But I even forgot about Dyson. So there's another guy.
Dyson could be part of it. But don't tell me modern day Drew Holiday. As if he wasn't getting picked apart. Honestly, buy your boy Dylan Harper. Buy a Stephon Castle. Buy a De'Aaron Fox.
Dylan Harper's that good. And Dylan Harper was matched up with Scoop most of the series.
That was like a 6-minute stint.
That was not a 6-minute stint.
Yes, it was not the whole series he was matching up. No, it wasn't.
Speaking of another guy in that series, Stephon Castle's a better perimeter defender than Jalen.
No, he's not, dude. It's just, I can't even prove it because OKC's defense is so good. Either with him, without him.
They can't have all the best defenders in the NBA. Yeah. Chet can't be a top 3 defender in the NBA, and Caruso can't be a top 3 defender in the NBA, and Kaysen can't be a top 3 defender in the NBA, and J-Dub can't be a top 3 defender in the NBA, and Shea can still get D-point votes. Like, this is how this fucking works. They have a great team defense. Their key players are Caruso and Chet. Those are their 2 best defenders. Those are the definitive all defensive guys. Kaysen's a really good defender. J-Dub is not this like super. He's a really good defender. He's not some top 5 defender in the NBA.
It's just he doesn't get to stand out. It's a curse. It's the OKC curse. Also, I never said Caruso was a top 3 defender. I would never give Shea any all defensive votes. So you can talk about. You're putting so many different narratives, but then you're putting it on me. I'm not saying these narratives.
No, you said it. No, you were one of the voters.
You can't even say it without laughing. J-Dub has already shown what he can do. Dylan Harper just hasn't shown anything. I think he can be great, but we don't even know because we are, I guess, drafting a hypothetical in this situation. But when we look back at it 10 years from now, we're going to talk about the careers they had. He's not even a top 2 guard on his team right now. You don't know if they'll ever eventually trade a Fox or a Stephon Castle. So unless they start all 3 guards together, he might just be off the bench his whole career while J-Dub's winning the championships. Because the Thunder will not only win it this year, they'll keep winning.
Right, but when Dylan Harper wins a championship this year, with the Spurs, and then next year elevates his game even more because this is his rookie season, then, we can have that conversation.
You can only elevate so much. Yeah, good job. He put up Peyton Pritchard numbers next year because that's all you can do off the bench.
I don't think he'll be off. And we both agree that they should trade De'Aaron Fox sooner than later.
I mean, yeah, we both agree, but it's not. I don't even think it's going to happen, especially if they win the championship, like you're saying. They're going to give him so much flexibility.
I just think.
Then again, you'd think you'd give a guy like De'Aaron Fox, who led your team to the 3 seed, so much flexibility, and they traded him 2 years later, and they decided not to pay him. So you know what? Anything could happen.
I will say I don't think the Spurs front office is to the same, level as the Kings front office. But yeah, well, difference of opinion for sure. I just think Dylan Harper's that good. I think whenever he's gotten the opportunity to show it, he has been that good. I think he's developed his game a lot, and that's a hard thing to do as a rookie when you're not getting that many shots or that many minutes. So I think he deserves credit for that as well. And I think he's going to end up being better than J-Dub. Now it is one spot better than J-Dub. So I still do respect J-Dub a lot as a player. I don't think he's a top 5 perimeter defender in the NBA.
Well, then call me disrespecting Dylan Harper because I don't have him nearly this. I mean, I am impressed with what he's been doing in such a small role. But at the end of the day, we haven't seen him in the larger role. It's taking that kind of jump isn't easy. And it's especially easy. I will say J-Dub can have a really easy job playing next to Shea and Chet. Don't get me wrong. But Dylan Harper has an easy job when he gets to share minutes with Victor Wembanyama. He gets really easy rim looks where we were watching the game last night and Dylan Harper was getting wide open cutting dunks just because that's just how easy his job's been. And J-Dub can have that at moments, but I don't. So
I'm comparing.
So how good do you think Dylan Harper will be? Because there's a lot of really good names that you have him over.
I think this is what I thought when I was thinking about this. Wemby, Shea, these are 2 superstars that are going to define the next few years. Who is going to be the better who's going to be the better number 2, right? Jalen Williams, Dylan Harper. I think Dylan Harper is going to be a bit better of a number 2 than Jalen Williams. That's how I look at it. So how good do I think he's going to be? I think he's going to be like, a 24, 25 point per game kind of guy. I think he's going to do it pretty efficient. I mean, he's already shown in as a rookie that he's a very efficient scorer.
I also think he does self-create some of his buckets, don't get me wrong, but it is easy to do that in such a small role. But we'll circle back because you said something that I want to talk about later. So we could just move on.
Okay.
Number 10, I have Jalen Johnson.
Number 10, I have Jalen Williams.
Okay. So I wonder where you have Jalen Johnson, but I'll go ahead and talk about him a little bit. Obviously, I think he's a future All-Star for the next couple of years. He could be even All-NBA. It was super disappointing to see as a Hawks fan how bad he played in the playoffs. But you know what? In the end, he actually didn't put up the worst averages. He was pretty inefficient. It was his first time ever being a number 1. So I'm hoping that he just grows from that. But he is literally a LeBron prototype. Now, not nearly as good, don't get me wrong. But he still has so much room to grow because he has been steadily improving every single year. Like, if you look at the totality of his career, he has not been that good. But as of the last 3 years, like he has made the case to win most improved player every single year for the past 3 years. So I'm hoping that another jump comes, especially with an offseason where your mentality is, hey, there is no Trae Young. Trae Young's not on the team anymore. Now it's my time to put in the work to really develop my self-creating shots, develop my stamina so that I can play defense, like intense defense while doing this offense. I'm pretty high on Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, he had a good year this year. So we're at 11 now?
Yeah.
Who do you have at 11?
I have Stephon Castle.
Okay. I have Evan Mobley.
Okay. Stephon Castle will be better than Dylan Harper. Stephon Castle has been I understand the efficiency that Dylan Harper has had. Stephon Castle has been far more impressive than a Harper with the improvement of the 3-point shot. With him, last season, his rookie season, shooting like 25% from 3, then going up to, for the year this year, 33%. But in the latter of this season, he averaged like 40% from 3. In the playoffs so far, he's been over 40% from 3. His shooting development is so incredible because he wasn't really taking threes like that at UConn. While being, like you said, he's a better defender than J-Dub. So you're really high on his defense. I'm really high on his defense too. His playmaking is great. He's actually, even though he doesn't get to play like a point guard next to Fox, he is still showing those point guard abilities, even if he is turning it over. It's his second season. He is like 20, 21 years old. So much room to grow. And it's far more impressive what he's doing than what Dylan Harper's doing in his bench role. So that's why I think he'll be an even better player. I think he'll be an all-star, potentially all-NBA. I mean, this is like Drew Holiday prototype 101. Like it is, in my opinion, because before, honestly, a couple months before the playoffs started, I thought he'd just be a regular season guy. I thought he'd be a half-court guy a full court guy, a guy who runs the break, who can't develop any sort of self-created shot in the half court. And his pull-ups in the playoffs so far have really impressed me.
I think his jump has been super impressive, and he's the next guy on my list, so I don't want to slight him in any type of way. I do just want to say, when you look at his versus Dylan Harper's numbers in their rookie year, in 26, almost 27 minutes a night, he averaged 14.7 points per game, 3.7 rebounds, 4.1 assists, 42.8 from the field, 28.5 from three. Dylan Harper in 22.6 minutes, 11.8 points, 3.4 rebounds, 3.9 assists, 50.5 from the field, 34.3 from three. There's no reason to believe that Dylan Harper can't make a jump in his second year as well that would put him above where Castle has been this year. Because Dylan Harper was already
rookie of the year check. Rookie of the year check. Who won rookie of the year?
Yeah, rookie of the year check.
Who already has an award?
Where would Stephon Castle be in the top three for rookie of the year this season? Not that he hasn't been great this year, but last year would he be in the top three?
Let's be for real. No. Stephon Castle got all-star votes this season. And you could say it's because of the winning, but Dylan Harper's not getting all-star votes next season.
I still think Dylan Harper's going to be better over his career. Even if they're not on a one-to-one similar trajectory, I think Dylan Harper will have more of an exponential increase in the level of his play throughout his career.
I think Stephon Castle's upside is All-NBA, and I guess you can say Dylan Harper is that. But even if both don't hit All-NBA, I just think the defense of Castle is
it's definitely
that good.
A floor raiser for his
is
ability.
He's the type of player that you want in the modern NBA. He is an OKC Thunder type of guy. Let's be honest. Like that's what you want. Referees. I mean, you talk about the Pistons, you talk about the Magic, you talk about the Thunder, you talk about the Spurs. Referees are now, if you're just physical the whole game, they will help you out. They will, forget to make as many calls. It is so hard to referee a game that is as physical as what the Thunder play and what the Spurs and Pistons play. And I just think that kind of play style that Stephon Castle has will lead to winning more than probably what Dylan Harper can give you. But I guess this is just a lack of what I think I don't think Dylan Harper will be some all NBA guy. I don't think he's shown any reason for me to believe that. He could be an all-star one day, sure. But is he a legitimate number two? Do you want this? If your mentality is Dylan Harper's your number two going forward, are you happy with that? I'd personally be happier with a Stephon Castle as a number two.
Just have to wait and see.
We will.
That's it. But I have Mobley at 11. So let's go to the guy that I actually put at 11, Evan Mobley. You want to talk about defense being a floor raiser or defense being something a guy can fall back on if his offensive game doesn't develop? Defensive player of the year. Now, is he doing that if Wemby's healthy? Probably not. So maybe a similar boat to Stephon Castle. Neither of them are winning a rookie of the year or defensive player of the year last year if the respective guys that should have won it are healthy. But I think Evan Mobley is always going to be a guy in defensive player of the year talks. He's a guy who averages 18 and 8, which I know he's known as 18 and 8 man. And that is not a very good thing to be known as in the context that he's known that for. But he averages 18 and 8 while providing some of the most elite defense in the NBA. He's shown that he can hit threes during this postseason in key moments. He needs to elevate a little bit more as a scorer to truly reach his potential. But even if he doesn't, he's a guy who if Chet is Wemby light, Mobley is like Diet Wemby. He's like the version of Chet and Wemby that's a little bit below what they are offensively and a little bit below what they are defensively. But shit, if he's in the bargain bin, you're getting him no questions asked, right? You're not getting him at Whole Foods, you're not getting him at a Trader Joe's, but you might be able to find him at a Winco for a really good deal, and that's a steal. So
I don't think there's any Winco players on this list. I don't have Evan Mobley even top 15.
You don't have him top 15.
He hasn't gotten better in the last 4 years. He peaked in his sophomore season.
Interesting.
There's no reason for me to even believe the only thing he's gotten better, which I will give credit to, is his three-point shot. His three-point shot has gotten faster, and he's shooting it more, and it's not the least efficient thing ever. But a lot of these guys have legitimate, repeated all-star potential. They can be the number one on a team, not a championship team, but on a team. They can be a number two on a championship team, and I don't believe that Evan Mobley's on that list. We're projecting for their whole careers. And yes, having a defensive player of the year is amazing, even with Chet being hurt, even with Wemby being hurt. But he won't get better. I don't think he'll be an all-star again.
You don't think he'll ever be an all-star again?
I have no reason to believe. Well, I don't know why his game would get better when it has gotten ever so slightly better every season. So that's
optimist versus pessimist.
Yeah, I'd rather take a Jalen Johnson, a Stephon Castle, any of them, because I know for
guys
sure,
that have proven it in a sense. The guys that have shown that they have that level of play.
That they have that level of play and that they want to get better. I don't think Evan wants to get better. I'm calling him Evan now.
That would be a shame if he doesn't, because he really does have all the tools to be a top 20, 15 guy in the NBA. The same as a Scotty Barnes.
Yeah. No, he has the tools. He's had the tools since his rookie year, though. So ever since he won that, no, he lost rookie year, didn't he?
To Scotty.
Yeah. At number 12, I have Amen Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually impressed. Or sorry, go ahead. Who's your number 12?
Number 12, I have Castle. So no, I don't want to say a ton. You can go ahead on Amen. I think Castle's been amazing this year.
Yeah. Amen Thompson was, in my opinion, not too bad in the playoffs. Like, he was actually pretty good for his only second time, with the increased role of Kevin Durant being out, only playing one game. Throughout the season, I mean, he was a good defender. His playmaking strides went up. I hope that he takes another jump playmaking wise, but it was still really good finishing wise. It's just the shooting. The shooting is that bad. If he unlocks the shooting, he can be way higher on this list. He should be way higher. He should be higher than a Mobley. He should be higher than a J-Dub. He should be higher than a Maxey. He should be higher than all these guys. He just has to get that shot going, and he has to be more confident in driving.
If this was the same list of players a year ago or 2 years ago, I'd almost certainly have him in top 10. I might have him top 8, because at that point in time, there was the thought that he could develop his shot. Now we're getting to the point in time where he needs to develop a shot. Now the time of being a young player is over a little bit. His athleticism is remarkable. His defensive ability, great. His playmaking, his vision, pretty good. He's got a pretty solid handle. Nothing crazy, but he keeps control of the ball, pretty well, especially when he's getting downhill that quickly. But if you can't develop a jump shot, you are never going to be a viable number 3. You're never going to be a Drew Holiday. You have to be able to shoot the ball, right? Yeah. So he still has to be able to do that. If he can do that, he's going to be really hard to stop with his athleticism and physicality and rebounding ability and ability to find others. He's that Jalen Johnson kind of guy. So,
except he's even more athletic, and he's better defensively. And I will give him credit. If he doesn't improve that jumper, which I don't think he will, he'll be a multiple-time All-Star still. I think his tools are still so good. He can still be an All-Star without it. But if he wants to take that jump, then yeah, that's what he has to add.
Yep.
At number 13, unless you had something to say.
No. I'm just getting ready for 13.
Number 13, I have Dylan Harper. So I think it was about 4 spots lower than you.
Yep.
I still think he'll be a good player, potentially an All-Star one day, but I just don't think he'll be that guy.
All right. At number 13, I have Jalen Johnson. So I believe that this is this also 4 spots lower than you had him?
3.
3?
But yeah.
Jalen Johnson. Because I watched him in those playoffs, and I understand it was his first playoff. Just at any point I really watched him this season, I didn't see an assertiveness. Every game I watched out of him, whatever he did, it was quiet. I looked at the box score at the end of the night, and I was shocked that he did as much as he did, because it was quiet, and it wasn't in a good way. He didn't really impact the game in the way I wanted him to, and a lot of what I was noticing throughout the game was him not playing defense well, him making poor choices on defense and costing them points on defense. And I think that is a huge problem when you are not contributing a level of offense that's comparable to guys that we've talked about in the past still being stars despite their defensive inconsistencies. He has the tools to be a good defender, so it's definitely a mental thing, and if he can get his mental right, he can definitely be a good defender. So I'm not saying he doesn't have that potential too, but in watching him, I have yet to feel like I watched Jalen Johnson take over a game. And that's something that I've seen a lot of other guys actually on this list do at different points in time. So I still believe in Jalen Johnson. I still think he'll be a multi-time All-Star for sure throughout his career. I think he will stuff the stat sheet, but I really hope that when it comes down to it and that he's playing playoff basketball, that he's able to step up and be the true number 1 guy, because I don't know that he can be.
I mean, I guess I'm a Hawks fan, but I definitely saw it in the regular season, him take over. I think it was one, and trust me, with my ranking, I took into consideration how he played in the playoffs, but it was just one playoff series. He did lead them, or he was like the biggest contributor to the huge run where we were 5 games under 500 and then ended the game ended the season like 8 games or 10 games above 500. He contributed to that. I mean, there's a reason he stuffs the stat sheet. He's Mr. PRA guy. He averages, 7-8 assists as a forward, which is not an easy thing to do. No. And I trust me, I've been just as but we've seen Jalen Johnson be a good defender before. And I think he just wasn't used to the whole being the number one guy.
I
going into the
hope-
season, he
I hope-
didn't know he'd be the number one guy.
Listen, I want the Hawks to succeed. I like their young core. I hope he becomes that guy. But I don't know.
I just think it's kind of crazy to bet on a Dylan Harper over him. We just saw
Dylan
Johnson
Harper at
do
a
it.
younger age stepped up in the playoffs.
But we've yet to see him even take a jump. And obviously it's not his fault. He's a rookie. He's not supposed to take a jump yet. But like we've seen in the last 3 seasons.
I'd argue he has taken a jump between college and the pros. I mean, obviously he was good enough to be the number 2 overall pick in college, but to have this level of efficiency as a rookie guard in the NBA is hard.
Whoa. Before you say that, let's compare Rutgers with 2 good basketball players and everyone else sucked for the D1 level versus he gets to play now with Victor Wembanyama.
That's fair.
The role change is going to make it. I don't think he took a jump. I think he just now gets to play with talent. Like that's what it was. I mean, the Rutgers didn't make the tournament with 2 top 5 picks. That's how bad of a team it was. So I don't think a jump was taken personally, or not any irregular jump compared to the jump any other prospect makes from college to their first year in the NBA.
Okay. I mean, that is also a fair point. But yeah, I got nothing against Jalen Johnson. I just want to see him succeed. And maybe some of my ranking is a little bit of disappointment in him not showing a little bit more in the playoffs and at the end of the season. So I really hope he proves me wrong. And shout out Joey. Our boy Joey looks exactly like Jalen Johnson. So every time I look at him, to a T, like literally identical. 14, last guy on my list, Amen Thompson. A lot of the same reasons you stated. At the very worst, he's going to be a Swiss Army knife, a guy for any team to have.
So you really don't believe the jumper's ever going to come?
I think if there was going to be a year for it to happen, it really was this year.
His 3rd season in the NBA?
It's not just it's his 4th, wasn't it? Oh no, I'm crazy. Yeah, no, it was his 3rd season.
This is the Wemby class, dude.
That's right. He's in the Wemby class. That was so stupid, dude. Because I knew that too. I looked at his. Anyway,
you can technically say this season was a contract year, but also next season is potentially a contract year.
I really hope it comes next season. I just think. I mean, let's talk about for these other guys. Let's say Castle gets a jumper on him. Let's say
he has a jumper on him.
Okay, he has a jumper on him. And more consistent. Let's say he becomes a 36, 37% three-point shooter instead of 33% like he was during the regular season, right? Let's say Mobley gets a better jumper on him or a more consistent mid-range on him. Let's say Jalen Johnson gets a more consistent, confident mid-range on him, right? There are other guys on this list that I already have ahead of him that I could say the same thing about. Now, does Amen have any semblance of a jumper? No. Is he still averaging 18 points per game? Yes. So if he gets a jumper on him, he takes a much bigger leap, but he also has to catch up to a guy like Jalen Johnson, who is ahead of him right now. He has to catch up to a guy like Evan Mobley, who is ahead of him right now. He has to catch up to a guy like Stephon Castle, who I would argue offensively is ahead of him right now.
So Amen Thompson, the younger player, has to catch up to a guy like Jalen Johnson, to a guy like Evan Mobley. But Dylan Harper doesn't have to catch up to anybody. One season of Dylan Harper,
Harper already has a jumper. That's what I'm saying. Is like he already has a jumper. It's more of an opportunity thing. And yes, I'm making a full on, prediction based on how good I think he's going to be, not what I've seen, but I think he has the tools. He just needs the opportunity. These other guys have had the opportunity. Now they need to develop the tools.
Okay, that's fair. So Amen Thompson, the younger player, has to catch up to a guy like Jalen Johnson, to a guy like Evan Mobley. But Dylan Harper doesn't have to catch up to anybody. One season of Dylan Harper,
Harper already has a jumper. That's what I'm saying. Is like he already has a jumper. It's more of an opportunity thing. And yes, I'm making a full on, prediction based on how good I think he's going to be, not what I've seen, but I think he has the tools. He just needs the opportunity. These other guys have had the opportunity. Now they need to develop the tools.
Okay, that's fair. You didn't have this guy, 2nd place in Rookie of the Year, Concadouble. He's my number 14. He pretty much played like an all-star this season. So there's no reason for me to believe he can't get better. Now, the reason he is so low is because I don't think he'll get too much better as a player. I just think like he has a ceiling defensively. He has a ceiling playmaking-wise. But who am I to put a ceiling on a 21-year-old who just averaged 19 points on like the most efficient you've ever seen? Mm-hmm. Now, part of me is thinking hopefully it's not a fluke like a Keegan Murray year.
Or a Tyreek Evans year. Well, that's like a worst-case scenario fluke. But I still think he'll be really good. I still think he'll be an all-star. If he can just take the jumps that Devin Booker did as a player. I mean, dude, he's putting up stats that Devin Booker put up in year 4. Yeah, no, Con was really good this year. And I do want to give an honorable mention to him. He was the second guy out for me. First guy out is another guy I want to give a big shout out to, Paolo. Paolo. I got to remember to pronounce these guys' names. Gays. Jesus Christ, dude. Paolo.
It's the end of the report.
Gotta pronounce their names correctly. That is important. But yeah, not a impressive regular season at all. Fell short of my expectations. Certainly, if you guys have been following this podcast since the beginning of the season, I had predicted that Paolo would be first team All NBA. So yeah, I'm gonna have to eat it on that one. But yeah, he was a great playoff riser. I just think to be a playoff riser, you got to make the playoffs, and the Magic were a game away from missing the playoffs. And that was because they lost to a Celtics team that was running third stringers. Yeah. In their final game of the season. So
pretty much.
Yeah. Paolo needs to play better in the regular season and develop that jelly that he does not have, because right now he's just peanut butter. But yeah.
I didn't even have him as an honorable mention. I'll be real. My two honorable mentions were Denny Avdia and Evan Mobley. It's hard for me to discredit Denny. He's already been an all-star, and there's no reason for me to believe he'll get worse. Now, I think his role will get lessened for sure. But, I mean, the fact that we've already seen him be an all-star type. And then Evan Mobley, too. We've already seen him be an all-star. I just don't think either of these players will get much better.
I question that about Denny. How much better can he get, and how does he fit on a team in a diminished role? Because the guys that fit best on a team in a diminished role, I mean, Drew Holiday is the archetype for the modern NBA, a sort of 3-and-D kind of guard that can score the ball but plays elite point of attack defense and can be a playmaker. So that's what, funny enough, he plays on a team with Drew Holiday. That's the role that you would hope a guy like Denny can move into as he moves away from scoring and being this sort of inefficient volume scorer and become more of just a playmaker and a defender. But he's not a great defender. He can hold his own for sure. But he's not an elite.
He was a great defender.
He's not an elite defender.
He what? Well, we'd have to get into semantics of great versus elite. But in Washington, in that last year, he was a good defender.
Would you say he was a top? Okay, so actually, I asked this question. Do you think he has the same problem Jalen Johnson has, where he took on a much bigger offensive role and that caused him to take attention away from his defense, and he still has all the tools there?
No, because I think Jalen Johnson was a good defender. I think Denny was a great defender in Washington, and I think he can definitely lessen it. And I think while I don't know how he'll fit next to like a Damian Lillard, I think when Damian Lillard is off the floor, Denny will still do his all-star type thing.
Well, I hope Denny does that then, because that makes the Blazers look really scary next year. Especially if they go get a guy like Giannis.
So I don't know. I don't think he's like you wanted to be like the number one point of attack defender kind of guy, but like second best defender on your team. I don't think it's a terrible. Like I think he can raise his defense while lowering the offense a little bit.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Yeah, and then just some honorable mention names that we didn't say. LaMelo Ball did not make it. Franz Wagner, Alperen Sengun didn't make it. Which. Oh, I think I had a hot take of like how I think I was pretty high on Sengun coming into the season, and this season
you were actually, because I remember you looked at me dead in the eye and went, "Well, he's played really good in Euroball this year," and you used that as your logic for him being good this season. No, he didn't.
I stand by it.
He took a Jokic kind of jump in that he got about 3 inches off the ground, and that was as big as a jump as we saw him take. So yeah, he did not.
We didn't have Jalen Duren.
Yeah, didn't have Jalen Duren. Didn't if you love defense, didn't have Asar Thompson. He is that good of a defender for me to even consider putting him on this list. But offensively, he is. I'm not going to say a negative, but he's certainly just a flat line.
Yeah, and then the only other honorable mention that I didn't have, Brandon Miller. I mean, he definitely has potential to be an all-star, but no.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's the list.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Comment down below what you agree, disagree with. Comment your own list if you're interested. It was pretty fun making the list for sure. If you guys like the video, go ahead and like it. That'd be amazing. And we're trying to hit 1,000 subs by the end of the playoffs. So you could help us out. That'd be great. I mean, if you made it to the end, just go ahead and subscribe. There's no reason not to.
I mean, shoot, forget the end of the playoffs. We're trying to hit it before the start of the finals.
Before the finals,
why not? Like, let's push for greatness. But yeah, appreciate you guys sticking around to the end if you did, or if you skipped to the conclusion to just see what we had to say. Appreciate you doing that too. So hope to see you guys in the next one.
Yeah.